Hello, hello, wonderful world of social media. It's Claire Snowdon-Darling here, and I just wanted to do you a little video to talk about vaginal dryness. It's just not a glamorous subject, is it? I know a few years ago when I was really in the thick of my menopause, and I'd been a practitioner by then for over a decade, and everyone had always said to me, what do you want to niche in? You know, niche down, who are you going to work with? And I was always a bit like, well, I can work with anyone, and I don't know what I love enough to want to niche down into it. But then the menopause hit me like a train, and I remember a few years back suddenly having this realization of I'm gonna have to niche into menopause, because my experience was that there was so little information other than what is peddled by the NHS. There was it affected every single part of my life. Like, so much of my life was affected by this menopause that I realized that my job was going to have to be being a spokesperson. So one of my favorite things to do in a room of middle-aged women is go, should we talk about vaginal dryness? Because nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants it, let alone wants to talk about it. It's just awful. And I think the difficulty is we use these words, hot flushes. Well, that doesn't sum up a cold sweat. It doesn't, you know, there are all these words that we use for menopause that aren't always descriptive of our individual experience. So I've never had the dryness thing. I know some people, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, about what other people have, but it can also present as a change in smell, like actually to the point where I'm like, what is that? That was not a fun few weeks when I was trying to balance my hormones. Like, what is that? And there's nothing medically wrong. This isn't candida or bacterial vaginosis. It's just the change in the hormones. And I was like, good Lord, that's not appealing. I was really navigating my menopause when I was going through, I'd gone through my divorce, and I was out in the world of dating. And I mean, just trying to deal with smelly vagina and oh God. Anyway, got there, balanced my hormones. My vagina's very happy now. I'm sure you'll all be delighted to know. Anyway, let's talk about the vaginal dryness. So I have people who tell me it's like an intense itching, like you've got thrush or something, but you don't have thrush. Some people just say it's so dry, it's painful. I mean, you know, it makes sex very challenging. It makes just even running challenging because of the kind of the friction that's going on down there. So I wanted to talk about what's happening. So one of the reasons I don't like combined HRT for women, particularly from the beginning of menopause, is what characterises menopause is the drop-off of progesterone. And then, so as progesterone drops off, estrogen becomes unstable. It kind of goes up and down. But there's usually more estrogen to progesterone, and we call that estrogen dominance. It's actually a misnomer because it's actually progesterone deficiency. Now, my experience of most women going through the peri to post phase of menopause is they often don't need a lot of estrogen. A lot of our symptoms are because there's too much estrogen. The hot flushes, the mood swings, the weight gain. These are all signs of too much estrogen. So actually what we need in that place is progesterone, loads and loads and loads of progesterone. The progesterone flushes, there's a difference between the hot flush from estrogen and the hot flush from progesterone. The progesterone hot flushes, so the progesterone deficiency hot flushes, are those rushy ones, those really quick ones where you're, God, that was quite violent and quite quick. The estrogen ones are when it's this slow radiating heat in the core of you that starts to radiate out And if you're sitting on the sofa or you're in bed, you could actually, move and you'll feel the heat on the sofa from you. They're from estrogen deficiency. They're very, very different. And those ones really go on for, minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes, up to about 10 minutes. The progesterone ones are very, very quick. And often you get sort of like the bit of the sweat afterwards. So they're the difference in the two. So if you're in a place where you're just having the flushes, a lot of anxiety, maybe some palpitations, I'm usually thinking progesterone. That's where we need to go, and not progestin. Progestin is if you're on a synthetic HRT or you have the Mirena coil, they say it's progesterone. It's not. It's called progestin. And if you actually do the research, progestin chemically is more in line with testosterone. Now, testosterone is a get up and go hormone. Estrogen's a get up and go hormone. Progesterone is a calming hormone. Suddenly you're being given all of this get up and go hormone, and that's where we end up jittery, wired, tired, feeling quite schizophrenic, forgetting things, overwhelmed, emotional, and not sleeping. Oh my gosh, the not sleeping. Wow, the insomnia is horrendous. If particularly, we haven't got enough progesterone because we're not calm. We can't relax. It's that can't turn my brain off. But back to vaginal dryness. Vaginal dryness comes into the picture as estrogen starts dropping off too. So that's when I'm thinking, so any of the vaginal changes, the smells, the itching, that's when I'm thinking that women really need an estrogen. And, you can actually get them in gels from your doctor so that you can, it doesn't have to be a combined HRT. If you are on HRT and you are still getting those symptoms, your HRT is not working for you. And there are many, many options. Some GPs just aren't trained in them. And so it's really worth doing your own research and being able to make your requests about what you want. Personally, I'm a really big fan of having, and there is a natural progesterone that you can get through the GP. I'm a big fan of having the natural progesterone and an estrogen gel so that you can be a little bit piecemeal with it. Under the guidance of a good practitioner, they can help you. So the thing is, I kind of wanted to say vaginal dryness is normal. When you're on the right hormones, I've talked about HRT. I work with bioidentical hormones, so they're made from yams. Nothing, is without risk, but the risk from bioidenticals is significantly lower, mostly because it's much lower doses, so you're not overwhelming the body. But really, we're just looking to get you to a point where your body is in balance. And then it's also, lubes. We can start talking lubes. Again, I would really be avoiding the synthetic silicone-based ones. I'd be looking for more the natural ones. There are a lot of oil-based ones, natural oil-based ones. If you're really struggling to get that under control, but if you're struggling to get it under control, it's because you're not using your HRT properly. So if you are on an HRT or you've tried lots of different HRTs and you're still having these problems, I'd be saying there's a problem with you absorbing, and then I'd be looking at gut health. So vaginal dryness, definitely not a fun part of menopause. I mean, it feels about as sexy as a kick in the head. But the more we can talk about it, the more we can destigmatize it, the more that we can just understand that this is part of the process and share our stories about it, the easier it becomes, actually, because then we realize that it's just a natural process that we are having to learn how to navigate. So I hope that's helpful, and now you understand why there is now the Sahara in your pants. Honestly, I laugh because if I didn't laugh, it would no wonder so many antidepressants are handed out in menopause. It's really tough. I know. I deal with this every day. But there is a lot out there, and if your HRT is not working for you, or you're interested in bioidenticals, or you just think that there must be a better way of managing your symptoms, get in touch.